may I just introduce to you welcome to Math Week 2022. This is our third event in Math Week this year, and this event today is dubbed Math in a Parent's World. It is very good that you could have joined us on Facebook or YouTube from the ministry's platform or JIS. We are very delighted to have you this afternoon. I just want to say to you all that you were born to do math. Every parent who is watching, you were born to do math. Every parent who is watching this afternoon, I just want to say that to you. You were born to do math. Please say to yourself, tell your children, tell your spouses, tell everybody who's near to you at this moment, you were born to do math. And I hope you believe it. Every day I trust that you measure, you count, and you analyze so that you can make decisions. You're doing math every single day. Math is in your world. Math is in your life. And to help us this afternoon to speak about math in your world, in a parent's world, I have with me two math educators, and I'm going to locate them using math language. So they are not just to my left. I want to be very precise in locating these two ladies as I introduce them to you. So on a bearing of 270 degrees is Mrs. Simone Williams, and she's exactly 6 feet away from me. And then on the same bearing of 270 degrees is Mrs. Tamika Lodge Fenton. She's at a bearing of 270 degrees, and she's 6 steps away from me. I trust that my estimate is correct. And these ladies this afternoon will be taking us through a very important presentation that speaks to math in a parent's world. Simone is from Region 1. She's acting regional math coordinator. And Tamika Lodge Fenton is a secondary mathematics coach, also from Region 1. Region 1 is St. Andrew and Kingston. And I'm delighted to be with you ladies. Okay, you will share with our parents at this time Math in a Parent's World.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donaldson, for that warm introduction. Are we ready?
Good evening, everyone. I hope you are ready for us to look at math in a parent's world. All right, so as we begin, right away we have to test your skills, So wherever you are, whatever you're using to watch this, I'd like you to participate by sending your answers in via YouTube or...
You can do it in the chat as well,
Right.
if you're logged into Zoom.
So look at the screen, everyone. Now, as you can see, there's a little puzzle there, and I want you to tell me what you think the correct response for this puzzle is. All right.
We want you to use your math skills to find the value of each icon and solve the puzzle. So you'll pay attention to the first equation, the one with the 3 calculators, as well as paying attention to the second equation, the one with the 2 math counts logo and a calculator. The third equation, 1 math count logo and a pencil. And then we are going to ask you to solve the puzzle once you would have identified the value of each icon. How long you think they'll need it to?
I just think they should get about 45 seconds.
Yeah, about 45 seconds will be good. I think our parents can manage this one, man.
So we're just waiting to see who first will respond with the correct answer.
What is the value? Do we have any responses at this point in time?
No, we're going to talk you through it a little, as you can see. So you see 3 calculators summing to give us 30. Then we have 2 math count sign subtracting a calculator, and it gives us
22.
Then we have a math count sign subtracting a pencil giving us 11. No, you're going to use all those 3 equations to figure out the value for the calculator, the pencil, and the math count sign.
Once you have the value of each icon, you will use it to solve the puzzle, which is looking at the fourth expression,
Right.
the last expression. A calculator plus a math count sign plus a pencil gives.
Any answer yet? We're waiting to see what's happening in the chat now. I forgot to tell them there is a prize.
Oh,
for the parent
yes.
who answers first with the correct response.
Yes, we do have
so
a prize.
I hope the answers are coming even faster now. Okay, great. So I see their answers. Please, when you send your answers in, I want you to attach your name. What? I guess, yes, your name and a number would be nice to see who is the one. So can we hear who is the winner for this afternoon for the first question?
Okay, so here we have Rikani Watts, whose answer is 10, and Troy Genius, whose answer is 33, Cheryl Smith, whose answer is 31.
Cheryl Smith.
Hold on, man, we're not finished. And one more, Rikani Watts is 32.
And I go back to Cheryl Smith.
Yes, we're going back to Cheryl Smith.
We thank you all for responding. We're most grateful that you are partaking this afternoon. So Cheryl Smith, you are the winner of this afternoon first prize on the platform. Yes, so let's just walk through the puzzle. You have 3 calculators giving us 30.
Right.
So we divide 30 by 3, we get 10.
10.
Since this same thing. And then we have 2 math count signs subtracting 10. Giving
Right,
us
to give us 22. So this is something that we have to pay attention to because
Right.
we will be subtracting 10, not adding.
Right.
So we have to pay attention to the equation. So if we were to look at the equation, we know the calculator is 10.
Right.
And we have 2 math count signs. If we were just looking at the 2 math count sign alone, what do you think those 2 could sum to if we were to, if we
Well, it would
were
have
manipulating?
to sum. I would have to pay attention to the 22 and the 10.
Right.
So if I were to I would have to have a value that when I subtract 10 from it, I get 22.
Beautiful.
So if
Very
I
good.
add back the 10 to the 22, it gives
That
me
will give me 32. And because we have two math count signs,
Right.
we're adding two math count signs, it means that each would value 16. Excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
So if the math count sign is 16, the calculator is 10. We need to figure out what is that green pencil.
Yes.
The value of that green pencil. So let's continue so we can move to the next slide. Let's continue.
And so, to find the green pencil, we know that the math count sign is 16. And we're saying if we have 16, the math count sign representing 16, we're subtracting a pencil that would give us 11. What number could we subtract from 16 to get 11?
Right, okay. So I would just try to figure out, since I know 16 is there, I would take away the 11 from the 16.
Who could do that as well, you know?
And I got 5.
Excellent.
So-
So we know that we have the calculator to be 10, the math count sign to be 16,
Yes.
and the pencil to be 5. And
Perfect.
so when we add all three together, we would get 31.
There you go.
Hence why Miss Smith would have been the winner for this afternoon for
Exactly.
our first puzzle. So at this point in time, we're going to continue. Thank you very much for your participation in this activity. I hope our explanation was clear to you. And if you have any questions or any comments, you can continue in the chat and we will try to address as we go along. So at this point in time, I want us to highlight the focus of the session. At the end of the session, we're expecting to examine strategies that will improve the attitude and mindset towards mathematics. This is something that is very big, something as a team that we want to emphasize. And we want at the end of the day, when we would have examined those strategies, you would also have an appreciation for the importance and relevance of mathematics in everyday life. And we also want to explore activities designed to assist in the learning of mathematics and the development of key skills. So these are very critical as we move along. So we're going to move to the next slide at this point in time. We're going to continue so that we can.
All right, so how do you feel about mathematics? I want you to again put in the chat using one word or phrase to describe how you feel about mathematics.
So how do you feel about mathematics?
I feel good about mathematics.
I tell you, when I hear mathematics, I get extra excited, you
I
know.
am excited.
Extra excited. I hope I get the same responses in the
I
chat.
tell you, I just love when I talk about math.
I-
There's so many things to do with math.
And the more I continue along this journey as a math coach, working with the Ministry of Education, I have a greater appreciation. I see the importance and the relevance even more as I continue. So I want for persons to remember that it's a process. Day by day, we explore, we see it, we use
Oh,
it.
yes.
So I want for you to be as excited as we are once we're finished with this presentation.
Math is our language.
It is our
Because
language.
guess what happened? Math counts.
Of course, definitely for
So-
us. So any responses in the chat? What word or phrase would you use to describe your feelings about mathematics?
Yes. When you hear mathematics, how do you feel?
Answers in the chat. We have awesome, wonderful,
Loving it.
challenging, and I'm excited.
I love the fact that we got excited,
Good
just like
stuff.
us.
And challenge is right.
Yes, it can be.
And that's a good thing right
It
there.
is a good thing, but it's how we actually use that to better ourselves as we go along. And that's one of the things that we'll point out, that once we talk about mindsets,
Yes.
the challenges is how we see it. So we want to talk about that as we continue. So let's continue at this point in time to talk about what are your thoughts. So an intuitive sense for numbers can be passed down knowingly or unknowingly from parent to the child, meaning essentially the math skills of parents tend to rub off on their children. What are your thoughts, Mrs. Fenton?
Well, you know, I really believe that, because guess what happened? If I don't pick up that math book sometime, you know, my kids don't look at it sometime. So, you know, the value that I place on math is very important on how my children will view math.
Right, so it's not just about the mindset or even just the, we have to just make sure at all points in time we put an emphasis kind of like to show them
Yeah,
the
man.
importance of it. But if we don't, then they might just, you know,
Let it-
relax
yes.
and leave it alone. I can understand what
Like
you're
it or
saying.
not, we communicate many things to our children.
Yeah.
And if we have a fear of it, and if we're not careful, even though the child may be able to do math even better than us sometimes, if we don't communicate positive attitude towards it, it can lead to negative outcomes.
I
All
agree.
right.
I agree, and I understand.
What say you parents? What do you think your attitude towards math has influenced how your students, how your children have taken to math? We're listening, we're listening, we're watching the chat. Let us know how you feel. Let's continue and we will take those comments. So of course, parents, your voice matters. And here we go as we continue our presentation.
Let's continue.
Why is math important? Simone, tell me why math is important.
Like we would have said earlier, you know, for me, math is there everywhere, in every single aspect of our life. One of the things that I've always told my students is it's a universal language. Like
It's a
anywhere
language.
you go, math is there. And so one of those things, that's one of the things that we need to hold on to. That's why there is a fuss about math. That's why there needs to be a fuss about math.
Yes.
Because it does affect a lot of things.
Most definitely.
A lot of things.
Let's look at a few things. For instance, time or age, the clock, the calendar, that's all math, you know.
As simple as it might sound.
Technology.
All math. Technology, definitely.
That's math.
And you know, when we look at it and we talk about this revolution, talking about the technological revolution that is taking place, when we look at those things affect economic growth.
Oh, yes, it does.
And so if we are saying that the foundation in most of these things is mathematical, imagine the growth that will take place when the maths turn up.
When everybody pay attention
Miss,
and communicate
communicate the
using
math.
Oh,
So make we make the
Jesus.
fuss about the math now?
We have to fuss
We have to
about
fuss
the
about the
math.
math.
We have to.
at this point in time. Yes, so we're going to continue, and I hope you're fussing about the math in the
Yes,
chat, you
ma'am.
know, telling us where we can use math every day in the real world. I want for you to be making that fuss. Suggest these things in the chat. Maybe some persons never saw it in their everyday life based on their experiences. So when you put it in the chat, others will have that knowledge now, and they can say, oh, you know what, true. Because I want to tell you one of the things that I always hear, we don't use certain things.
Yes,
like
they're doing
this
math in
topic.
high school, and they say
Why?
wherever they're going to use these things.
Yes.
And that is why we came up with the theme, math in the parents' world. Because we want you to know, treat math so different that the students see the relevant
Of it.
of math.
Yes, every day. And like we would have said, economic growth is a real thing. And so we have to be able to compete globally. And so we want to ensure that the foundation is there. And as parents, you're a part of this process.
That's right.
So let's continue. So we would have highlighted a few things where math in the parent world, and I don't know if we have any responses in the chat. So for math in the parent world, we can see it. If we have any athletes in the chat, I want it to woot woot, even if you were an athlete back in the days and not now. But I just want to see a thumbs up in the chat. Engineers, do we have any engineers in the chat at all? Soldiers, doctors, referee.
That's right.
You know, a lot of persons don't know that referees use a lot of math.
See, man, they have to be watching this thing, man.
They don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. And they don't even know that with footballers, there's a lot of math.
Oh.
Even with angles and the speed.
Precision.
They don't know.
Speed, strength, force,
Oh
all of
my
that.
goodness, there's a lot of math behind
Where to
that.
kick the ball from.
Yes.
To angle it a particular place.
Excellent. And the nurse, even though, you know, there are some other things attached to being a nurse, but
yes.
the math is there. The math is there. If you're a nurse in the chat, just let them know where the math is in your world. And of course, we know with the chef, when we talk about the ingredients,
Yeah, man, if you never paid attention, if the chef wants to, when you go to a restaurant and the restaurant has a particular meal, you go back there for that precise taste, you know. You don't go there for if it tastes like that the last time. You want it to taste the same way.
Yes.
It is the math that allows that chef to do that same dish over and over and over, tasting the very same way.
Just because of that wonderful recipe that they would have had.
Exactly.
So even if it's
Proportion.
just proportion,
Ratio and proportion. There you go.
Definitely. And then we have the policeman. A lot of persons don't see the math at all
Oh,
in these professions, you know.
We can tell you one of the math though, the tickets. The tickets.
Let's not talk about the tickets.
Right.
Yes.
So there's so many professions out there, and parents, we know you have these professions. Talk about the math that you use every day with your students, with your children. I keep on saying students, with your children. Talk to them. What other profession? The writer. What about the writer? How would a writer be using math?
You know, if we look at the amount of words that it is that they would have to use.
If they have a deadline, then better use the math.
Even that as well, you know. Because I know they normally have conversations, and we'll explore it a little bit more tomorrow in our expo when we have our social media influencer giving us some information as to how it is that they actually write. And so even...
Right, so I'm observing in the chat, and I noticed that Cheryl, I think she was our first winner.
Yes, it is.
And she's very busy in the chat. She said that correctional officers, they use math as well.
Look at that.
And,
Yes.
another calculation needs to be done to know what your final receipt would look like when you go shopping.
Look at that.
And I agree, you know.
I like it. I like it.
I love it.
Miss Smith, you're going on well.
Yes, man. Thank you very much. And we don't want to leave out our trades, our trade workers,
So
construction workers, and
Tylers.
oh my goodness.
You know, the man who makes the grill. You're talking about geometric designs. You're talking about measurement to the key. You're talking about, when you talk about building a house, if you don't have the math part, listen, we're going to have some lopsided house that is not structurally correct.
I tell you.
So the math have to be a part of our community. A lot of leaning towers.
And President, if you remember earlier, I said to them, you know, that every single day of your life, you are counting, you are measuring, and you're analyzing.
There
If
you
you
go.
don't do that, you won't ever make sensible decisions.
That's very true. Very, very true. So let's continue. Thank you very much for working with us in the chat, all your comments in the chat. We appreciate it. Keep them coming. Don't stop. Keep them coming. And for anyone online, if you know that a friend is not online, just send them the link. Call them. Send them the flyer if you have a copy of the flyer, and let them join us so that they can be a part of this discussion.
So, remember our theme? Parents, math in the parent world.
Yes.
Now, as you are carrying out your parental duties, we want to help. You know, we just want to talk about positive parenting. And of course, you know, math counts for us, so how you can be a positive parent while including mathematics.
So we're going to look at that. Let's continue, and we're going to look at that so that we can define positive parenting for you, and then we will continue to talk about growth mindset. So positive parenting is the continual relationship of a parent or parents and a child or children that includes caring, teaching, leading, communicating, and providing for the needs of a child consistently and unconditionally. And so we emphasize teaching, caring, leading, and communicating.
Big word.
Just like what you would have said earlier, that we sometimes communicate things to our children and we don't even
Sometimes
know.
consciously and unconsciously.
Yes. So it is very important for us to pay attention to these things so that we, at the end of the day, we are practicing positive parenting.
I like that word though, you know, unconditionally. What does that mean?
Powerful.
It means whether the child does what you think they should do or not. You have to instill, you have to be a positive parent. So your positive parenting doesn't stop until that child is on their own, kinda-ish. Not really.
Kinda-ish.
Kinda-ish. Right.
No. Always.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So let's just look at a few things, you know. We want to tell you thank you because we know you're out there and we have your children and we know you're doing a great job and we want to say thank you. And thank you for creating goals and standards for your family. Thank you for positively influencing your children or child. We are most grateful that you work hard to provide for your children. And you continue to teach children special skills and pass down family traditions. We are grateful here at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information that our parents in Jamaica continue to do all this. But let us see if we can just work together and do more for our nation's children. Let us continue.
So one of the things that we want to highlight for you is on screen with regards to positive parenting, there are a few things that will pop up. If you notice, there are about 12 images there, but we're going to highlight just a few for you. So how does this work? We want for you to be supportive. We know that you are supportive parents. Continue to be supportive. We want for you to be involved and involved with the math. Even if you see it as challenging, even if it is something that you didn't like when you were going through high school, primary school, still support your child and get involved in the math. We want you to encourage them, continuously encourage them as they go along, and give rewards. And the thing about rewards that I want to highlight is that we don't need to have just an A+.
No.
If the child has improved, reward. Because it is the upward movement that we want to reward. We want to ensure that they recognize that we see the effort that they're putting in order to do better at the subject. So we also want you to praise them, but we don't want you to praise for the final result. We want you to praise the effort.
Every step.
Every step of the way, we want you to praise the effort. Not to say that the final result can get a little boost and,
right,
it's
a
not
bigger
good.
praise.
Yes, but the effort is what we want you to focus on, because the more the child understands that, yes, my hard work is paying off because mommy and daddy is seeing it, highlighting it, pushing with me through it, then they will continue along that path. We want you to be patient. Oh, Lord.
That's a big one.
It's a very big one. It's a big one for me.
Me too.
Yeah, we have to be honest with ourselves.
You said something, and I want to just remind our parents. You said reward. The reward can be for incremental growth. And another thing I wanted to point out, that parents, you may have 2, 3, you may even have 1 child, but never compare your child to another, whether it be your children or someone else, because each child's journey is different. I have 3 children of my own, and my 2 boys, day and night. And the measuring stick that I use for one is definitely not the same one I use for the other, because their goals and their scope is so different. So sometimes we hinder our children by saying, look at your big brother, look at your big sister, how them reach wherever. Try to accept your child for who he or she is, and encourage and reward within their own stance.
Those are the efforts we want to make sure that we're
Yes.
paying attention to. So every step that they make, every stride that they take, we want to ensure that we are praising that and rewarding as we go along.
Most
and we're looking at
definitely.
positive parenting and positive growth. And so we also want you to listen to your child. Listen. Even when you're doing the homework, sometimes they can explain their level of understanding, and you can learn from that and help them through it. You might not know the answer or know all the steps. We'll talk about that a little bit more.
Right.
But the fact that you listen to your child, it makes a difference.
You may even learn something.
I tell you.
That's right.
I've learned a lot from my children.
Oh, yes.
Yes, indeed. And last but not least, we want you to inspire. Inspire your child.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we want to be the role model for a child. So we want for you to just work with them, listen, be patient, praise, inspire. And all of this will help to develop a growth mindset in your child. So persons might be asking, what is a growth mindset?
We're going to tell them.
All right, good.
We're going to tell them.
Yes.
But you said inspire. And what better way to inspire your child than to show them how math is in your world?
I tell you, it's
Math
true.
in the parents' world.
Have
That's
that conversation with them.
inspiration right
Yes.
there.
So when you hear them talking about, I had a horrible math class today,
show them
just
how you
show
use
them,
math
man, and talk
at
to them
work.
about it. Give them a different experience, even if it's with a game. But we can talk about that
We're
a
going
little
to
bit
talk
later.
about that, you know.
Yes, even if it's with a game, just encourage them to show them that there's a different way to look at it. We want to ensure that we're always doing these things for them. Growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
So basically, what we don't want at the end of the day is for each child to think that it is an ability at the end of the day to do math. We want them to understand that it takes effort. I remember someone saying earlier in the chat that it can be challenging. And we're not saying to you that it's not challenging at times, depending on the topic, depending on the delivery, things of the sort. And the experiences and so on. But what we want for you to do is to not give up. We want for you to continue trying, put out that effort. And so once we look at those things, we want to ensure that at the end of the day, we're developing. We're seeing ourselves grow each and every day. Yes. We don't want to just believe that, oh, if I never get it today, we're not getting it tomorrow.
Not true, man.
Nothing like that. So that's what growth mindset is all about.
And remember what Horace had said.
Yes.
You were what? You were born to do math. Born,
We can't forget that.
It's not some of us born to do math. You were born to do math.
All
you,
of us.
me, everybody.
We have it in us.
To do math.
Born to do math. Definitely. So let us continue.
So here we are. Now, let's look at this. This is a beautiful tree. Look at it. It's green and it's flourishing. Let us look at all those things that we want parents, as you include your children with the math in your world, to look at. So when you are talking about building confidence, you include your children. You include them in the things that you're doing when you see math involved. Encouragement is always something. We grew up saying encouragement does what? Sweeten labor. So as your children work in school, if you encourage them, they will put out more effort. Continue to be patient. Be patient. We can't say it more than that. Continue to be patient. Being positive is extremely important in any and every child's life. Support is an integral part of school and development. So continue that. Offer rewards. You see how many times we're telling you these things. And of course, be calm. Be calm. I'm talking to myself too. Be calm. All right? Now, when this happens, you'll realize that you get better grades. Now, Simone, better grades, we want to remind you again, better grades does not necessarily mean
A+.
A+. It
don't mean A+.
If the child used to get 10 and he or she is now getting 25, reward him or her.
The effort.
Because it is an incremental growth. And that's what you want to do. You want to encourage those incremental growth. All right? Now, positive outlook. Failure will come. And that's okay. That is okay when failure comes, because you can use it to build on. All right? Enthusiasm, good attitude, confidence. All of these are important as you parent, as you become positive parent or continue to positively parent.
And so one of the things that we
students.
want to ensure that we do for our children is to show them how to bounce back from failure.
Yes.
That's a part of growth mindset. We have to teach them how to bounce back from failure. And if we don't encourage them, they won't understand how to. They will never learn how to. It's our job to teach them that. And so, like you said, it's a part of life. It's something that we have to deal with. So we don't want them to have the perfectionist mindset to say that they will always be getting that high mark. If something should challenge them, they should be able to work through it with effort. Definitely. And at the end of the day, they will be able to improve as they go along.
Right. All right, tips and routine as you continue to work with your children. Build confidence in your children. How do you do that? Have conversation. Continue to talk to them. Remember, when you talk about bouncing back, Simone, if you can share with your children, if they are mature enough to understand, sometimes we fail in life. Have that conversation where you were at a low point, maybe a job change, maybe just things happening. Explain to them and try to, of course, include the math that you had to solve a problem solving, critical thinking. That's all math, So I can bring math anyhow you want, So learn to do math with your children. That's very important. If you don't understand, ask a friend, Google it, something, find out, read a book. Learn to do math.
Listen to your children.
Listen to your children. Yes. Most times when a child is doing a topic at school, most times the teacher does have an example in his or her book, or the text comes with an example. So when you are not sure what to do, reach for the text or look at the example that was there in their book. Also, have your children communicate their reasoning when they're doing certain tasks with you. This is also useful.
Yes, because guess what? Pep. At the primary level,
reasoning.
Definitely, they have to be able to explain what it is that they have been doing. So if you have these conversations with your children at home, it prepares them.
It becomes the
prepares them for
norm.
that day. Yes,
Yes.
it becomes the norm. And there are aspects, even with CSEC math, that
That
they have to
requires-
explain. Yes.
If you were to look at it,
Yes.
it's one of the components that is used to grade them.
Yes.
Find creative ways for children to work alongside others to develop collaborative skills. If you have more than one children at home, find tasks that they can do together to
I agree.
build collaborative teamwork spirit. You know, church does that as well. If that's a part of their lifestyle, let them work together with others. Talk about the importance, you know, the importance of mathematics in the home.
Don't stop talking about it, please. Thank you.
Yeah, man, you have to talk about it. Develop a culture of math success. Create a safe space for children to fail and keep on trying.
Yes.
Right? And that is very important.
Very, very important.
Safe space.
Safe space.
No, we are in the 21st century. And this means that our learners are of the 21st century. What does that look like, though? Your children, our students, they have to be communicators, globally aware, self-directed learner. You know what that means? We've just gone through this pandemic. Well, we're still going through it. But you realize that your students had to go online, get themselves organized, go to the classroom, pull down their work. Self-directed learners. They have to be problem solvers, critical thinkers. They have to be collaborators. No, information and media literate. Every child you know now can take up a smart device and work it. That's the time we live in. And of course, like it or not, they have to be financially and economically literate. How do we do this? With your help, how do we do this? How do we help these parents?
You're missing a big one.
Innovator.
Innovator.
They've got to come up with
If
new
you
ideas.
notice, you paid attention to the news? I noticed on one news channel on Sundays, what they will do for the business review is that they would actually have a discussion with new entrepreneurs and the
Nice.
different ideas that come. And I always look at it and I was like, the last one I was like, so why me never think about that?
Look at that.
And I was like, look at that. I thought what they created was a very powerful tool. And so we want our children to be innovators. We want them to be able to compete globally, like we would have said. So we want, in order for us to get our students there, they have to be, again, grounded in math, because it's one of those things. And we also have to look at the 4 C's
Yes.
that are critical. And you would have spoken to creativity already. We have already spoken about collaboration.
Yes.
And communication is critical. Very,
Critical.
very, very critical. And then we're using the word critical.
Critical.
But the thinking,
Yes.
even bigger.
Most
critical
definitely.
thinking.
So you see how all these 4 C's tying together.
Yes, and tying together to give us that 21st century students.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So parents, you see how we are asking you today to make sure you are involving your children by showing them math in your world. Include them, communicate with them, you know, collaborate with them sometimes. Build their creativity, man. Let them tell you about ideas that they have. Don't box them in with the ideas that we grew up on or you grew up on. Give them new ways in which they can explore the math that they are learning.
Yes.
You'll be surprised the things that they have to tell us.
On that note, I just want to, it's interesting what the conversation that children have with their parents. So earlier this week, a parent texted me part of the conversation that she had with her son. Her son is in grade 4. And the son said to her, but asked her this question. She said, Mommy, if we go to a colder country, a country that is very cold, and you want to get warm, where would you go?
Inside.
And so Mommy was wondering, where would we go? Well, you act like parent now and tell me, where would you go if you want to get warm? Inside. The child said, no, Mommy, not just inside, but you have to go in a corner. Because most corner measures 90 degrees. That's interesting, isn't it?
So the corner is quite warm.
Quite warm.
Look at that.
Right. Well,
math language, math knowledge.
Yeah.
I never thought of that, though.
Interesting, though, it's quite warm if it's Celsius, but may not be so warm. It's Fahrenheit.
Right. No, it's not. Look at that.
Very good one, Mr. Donald. So thanks for that.
So, tips for parents. As you see, we are always here helping, trying to make sure that we understand that it's a partnership, you and us working together. So include your children in home activities. Highlight the math, for example, in paying bills. JPS is a good one. So, you can show them how the kilowatt usage so that they know how to conserve the light
Yes.
and how to plug out stuff when they're done. All of that. Show them the water bill. Show them every bill that you use. Even I'm not sure how the cable bill or how the internet bill looks, if it shows the usage
No,
or it's just
doesn't.
one
it just
thing.
gives you a breakdown of the different things that you would pay for.
Okay.
And it will come
But
together.
involve them.
Yes.
Show them how you have to budget to manage your household. So they're a little bit, you'll be surprised that you build better relationships because they become more appreciative of all the things that you have to put into running the house.
Yes, I tried that with my children and it really worked. At the
Okay.
primary and the secondary level, yes.
Look at that.
It works. So they recognize money in a different way, and now they are working on saving.
There you
So
go.
that before I would say save your money, don't spend on everything. No, they're understanding the
How
money.
much it takes
Yes, it takes a
to
lot.
run
so
a
they're actually
household.
seeing it and learning to save as well, which is a good thing.
Excellent.
Excellent
It
thing.
is. Because we want them to be financially, economically
Yes, which is
literate.
a part of being the
Yes.
21st century learner. Right. So if you are doing any home projects like tiling or even just cooking on a Sunday, baking, have them be a part of that, measuring the different things. I know in Jamaica we kind of do a pinch of this and a
Yes,
dash
we
of
do
that.
pinch a lot.
but
But that's estimation, so it's still math.
I tell you, that's exactly where I was going. And so we want to get them involved in these different things so that it develops their skills, addition, subtraction, and so on. And finding relationships among numbers, what it
Yes.
is that we are involving them in these conversations.
The 21st century learner will need certain things because just like how they learn and what they're learning is different, how the 21st century learner is assessed is also different. It is not just coming up with the right answer.
Not anymore.
No, it is understanding how to apply a concept to something. So they have to work as a team. When you are looking for a job now for your high schoolers, they need to be team players. Nobody works alone anymore. You have to be able to collaborate. You have to be
Yes.
able to pass on. So you have to also master core concepts in order to build other things. You have to think about ways of thinking, ways of working, tools for the working. So you have to be able to apply concepts that are taught. So that you have to have a conversation with them. You hear that word? Converse with your children. Have a conversation. Let them talk to you about what they understand, and you talk to them about what you understand about the math in your everyday life.
Understand, even not just about what you understand, but what you would get from what they would have expressed.
There you go.
Because it will help to build that connection.
Yes.
It will really deepen the level of the conversation, and a bond will be created between both parent and child, a deeper bond.
Yes.
It does work. So when you listen to them and even express what you understand from what they say, there's clarity and you can move forward together.
And it
as a
builds
team.
confidence.
Yes, and it builds confidence.
It builds
as well.
confidence. When
Yes.
when you practice conversing with your students, with your children, when they go to school and you ask what was done today, and they can tell you what they did or what they understood, you can either make adjustment, correct, or you can learn yourself. But it builds confidence because you reassure them that what they have to share is valuable.
Right, and then the thing about it, for I can make the link to the math classroom for the parents if they so choose at this point. When we think about mathematical discourse in the classroom, just as teachers,
Right.
So we have teachers online, I'm sure.
Exactly.
We want to have students that can talk about what it is that they are getting in the lessons so that the teachers can really help them in the classroom.
Right.
So, but if they don't know how to do that level of communication, it might be challenging. So if we are at home and doing it and helping them to learn how to express themselves, when they go into the classroom, then they're able to express to the teacher, and the teacher can further help them.
Exactly.
So it is all connected. So we want to ensure that we're playing our part as parents in the growth of each child.
Most definitely. And sometimes a child's expression of a concept helps someone else in the class better understand the concept.
That's something that I would have used as a teacher.
Oh, yes.
It really helps.
So conversing is always a good place to start. Have a conversation with your children about math and several other things.
Yes, but mostly about math.
Mostly
right?
about math.
So let's continue. So how can we improve the math experience at home for young children while fostering math skills? Anyone can drop anything in the chat for us?
We don't tell them how many times.
Well, yes, it's true.
They should tell us. The first thing that should come off there, come off in that chat is
conversation. Yes,
man. Have a conversation.
So for young children, we can count with them. It's something that we tend to just say, let's count to 10, and we sing a song 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we can put a little bit more.
We can show them what 2 looks like.
Yes, what 2 looks like, and 3 looks like.
Right.
And do it in different ways.
Even when you're sharing dinner, you know, you can have them compare how their plate looks to daddy's plate, to mommy's plate.
So we can talk about the big children, the
spoonful of rice
and things like that, right?
If it's dumpling, dumpling.
How many dumplings and so on and so forth, right? So if you were to cut the dumpling in smaller pieces, how many do you have left? And we have these conversations with them. So even if we're not actually showing them the subtractions or anything like that, it's just for them to be able to see, count, and make sense of the numbers and the amounts that they're seeing in front of them.
So we're showing them that math is everywhere.
And compare and categorize.
Right.
We can do these things for our children as we go along, and it's just a conversation.
You're right. As they organize their rooms, as you organize your house, you know, you categorize things differently. Have a conversation with them. Show them why we're putting what where and how it helps to make life easier. Now, if we throw everything out in the house, we kind of have a confusing house. But if we categorize our things, you know, you can say, all right, mommy, I need a nail clip. Okay, go in my top drawer, look to the right side in that little container. That's categorizing. So, you know, I tell you, math always counts.
So let's continue. So encourage your child to take a break and then go back to complete the task.
Ask for help from the neighbor, retired teacher, a family member, or a friend.
Look for examples in your child's notebook.
And try using Google or YouTube. But I must say to you, as you approach the Google or YouTube, be cautious, be intelligent about it. Not everything online is factual. So you can ask your teachers for credible sites that you can use to look at content that your children are doing. So that's something that you want to be mindful of. Not all information is equal.
That is true. We can play games that promote number sense at home.
And there are several games, of course.
There are several games at home that we can use. Snake and ladder, which is one of them that I know we don't really play it a lot nowadays, but it's very good in helping young children to count as they go along. So when they throw the dice and we continue, yes, it's a very good thing for them.
When you look at the card pack, you know, you have 21 cards. How many cards is in a suit? It's called a suit,
yes.
Right? And how many suits is in the pack? All of those things are math. You know, dominoes, how you can read domino. Now, a person who plays domino well, listen. And they are good at mathematicians. And Ludi. Okay? Ludi is kind of chance-ish though.
Well,
it's kind of chance-ish. Yes. But dominoes,
listen to me. I
when
still
you
don't
look
catch
on
the
those
Ludi skill yet, you know. Me working on it. But the
when
dominoes,
you look on domino and see how many pieces are on the board, you can tell how many pieces are in each other's hand.
I tell you.
So if you can read that,
What we call it, read the game.
read the game,
Read-
man.
yeah,
That's
man.
math all
And then we get
over.
to just turn over our hand.
Okay,
No,
then.
Jesus, I love the that you see. Trust
So-
me, mash up everything.
Find games that show your children that math is in everyday life. And math is fun. Not can be, but it is fun.
And so there are other fun educational online math games that can be used. Kahoot, Room Recess, Math Game Time, just a few for you to explore with your child. I promise you, Kahoot has been one of the big things
Oh, yes.
over the last 2 years. And I tell you, the children love it.
And it
They
can be
love
done
it.
in the whole household.
Yes.
Everybody just download it on their smart device because we do have 21st century learners. Everybody know how to use a smart device. And you just find you can find family stuff, you can find math content, and you plug it into the game, and you ask, and it's very quick. So you know who answered first, who answered second.
Yes.
It's awesome. Try it. Then, of course, you have math in the home. And we can't stress this enough. Cooking have so much math in it that you just have to get the kids involved. You have to. You have to show them how you use different recipes. You're tying your mother's recipe with your grandmother's recipe. You may tweak it a little by adding something else.
yes.
But it is the math in it that makes it also awesome. Yeah, sometimes it don't really work out so well, but we try another time. Right? Gardening. What's the math in that, Simone? I'm just kidding. You talk about gardening, you talk about how you space the plants. I know some of you saying how, but how you space the plant determine
Yes, man, it's
how
critical.
the plant
It's
grows.
critical.
If it bunch up together, if it has enough space
Yeah, for
to
the roots
flourish,
to grow and things
all
like
of
that.
that.
The amount of water that is needed in order for the
So
plant
can I tell
to
you how
flourish,
farmers
things like that.
are excellent mathematicians?
They are indeed.
You know, when
they
you
are.
have you ever passed the hillside and see how geometric, pretty? It just looks great when they plant some crops and you see the plots different.
Like a design.
and the
Yes, I love to
plants
drive
are-
on
oh
the
my
highway to look
goodness.
over and see that. That's very good. And there's a reason behind it, though.
Yes, there
is
is.
a very big reason behind it. I remember a student was doing an SBA probably not last year, the year before, and when they went to collect some information from the store, the plant store, they were telling how the
much
distance
space.
between the plants that is required in order for the plant to actually flourish.
Look at
and
that.
I was like, oh, okay. That's new information, and I
Right.
appreciate it because, again, that will help you to determine the plot of land, the area, how many can it actually take, and things like that. So there's a lot of math in it, and I was like, I didn't explore it before, but now you're getting new information. You're like, wow. So there is a lot of math in this world.
And sometimes you see some farmers and the crops them just don't come to pass. They just don't thrive. The math is not
But I
involved.
can tell you,
Horace.
I have, as a parent, I've tried, home farming. I call it home farming. But generally, after putting the seeds in the ground and the little baby plants grow,
Seedlings?
they seem to be vibrant. But as they begin to grow bigger, obviously they are more competitive. So they're competing for everything that is in that little area of soil.
Right.
And so they get very slender. And when I transfer them to, more open area, then they begin to
Look at
get
that.
fat again.
Look at that.
And right, so that would have linked right back to the reason
So
as to the
giving them
spacing
enough
that is
space.
needed for the plants to grow.
Math again.
A lot of persons would just say, oh, that's what grandma and grandpa used to do. But
That's
there's
right.
actually a lot of math behind
Math and
it.
science.
There's
Yes.
a lot of math and science
Talk
behind
about
it.
integration right
Yes,
there.
a lot of integration. So in entertainment as well, a lot of math.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
If you even look at the guide on your TV, it tells you the time and the duration of the shows. That's math. That's measurement,
counting and measurement.
right?
Yes.
Right. So you have to let your children know math counts. You have to communicate math to them. It's everywhere, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Let's continue. All right. I like the kitchen.
What's our parent doing? Are
I like to
they
eat.
talking to us in the chat?
All right.
We'll be asking a question soon,
Yes,
right?
man. It's time for them to talk to us. So get ready. Let's talk math in the kitchen, and this is one of my favorite places, as you can see. So Smoothies. Ingredients: serves 10 strawberries, half liter orange juice, 2 550 milliliter yogurt, 1 banana.
I'll be trying this.
Okay. How much of the ingredients would be needed to make 4 smoothies? Parents, this is on you. How much of the ingredients would be needed? Please put it in the chat. And there's also another prize here for the person with the first correct response. We are waiting on you. Now, this is another way we can always include our kids. You know, if we find a recipe and we want to prepare something for the family, the recipe may not cater for the entire family.
Right.
However, we can tweak it. We can use the math and make the
yes.
recipe works.
And I know my children love the kitchen, you know.
Oh, yes.
My eldest is saying that he wants to be a chef. So we always be
Look at
exploring.
that.
So I'll be definitely exploring using these ingredients so that he can tweak for the family.
We need to answer the first question, though. Anyone has answered the first question? How much of the ingredients would be needed
To make
4
4
smoothies?
It looks like ratio.
Yes, it
Not
does.
as yet.
Proportion there, too.
Not as yet, but I think they're trying to figure it out.
All
but
right.
Not as
we're,
yet.
we're not going to give you the response yet. We're going to come back. So we're going to look at the next question. So we are expecting answers for the first one and for this one. If 2 liters of orange juice is used, how many bananas would be needed? Giving you some time to look at it, take a pick if you need, because we have 2 prizes for those parents who respond correctly in the chat.
Our parent is asking us to repeat the first question.
All right. So as you can see, the ingredients are there, Simone, right? It tells you
Yes.
how many things you have to make the smoothie. I'm not going to give you no hints. How much of the ingredients would be needed to make 4 smoothies? We look like we have an answer there.
Now we have some answers. We
Okay.
are here on Zoom. Our first answer on Zoom gives us 20 strawberries, 1 liter orange juice, 250, I'm assuming milliliters yogurt, yes, 2 bananas. Another parent is saying 12, and don't think it's fully completed as yet, parents, so please, we're asking you to complete your answers.
Yes.
Give us
Anna.
the full recipe.
All right, so Anna now is saying 20 strawberries, 1 liter orange juice, 500 milliliter yogurt, and 2 bananas. While over on YouTube,
Yes.
they're not completed on YouTube. So Kathy would have stated 20 strawberries, 2 bananas, but I don't believe she has
Finished.
completed her
Oh.
responses yet. Yes.
But Anna sounds good enough.
Yes.
Anna sounds like she have the
Can
thing
you
going
repeat
on.
for Anna?
Yeah, let's
the
hear what Anna
liter?
says again.
For Anna has 20 strawberries, 1 liter orange juice, 500 milliliters yogurt, and 2 bananas.
We can make noise.
Yes, I think we should.
We're celebrating Anna. So Anna, you did great. And I was trying to make a celebrity.
So Camille, I want you to take the credentials for Hannah. At least send me her name now, so I can have that recorded.
So
for
Anna, we
prize.
have a little token for you for your
Yes.
participation. And all the other parents, thank you so very much. Before we move to question 2, let's just look at this. So remember, key things that we need to pay attention and point out to our children. The ingredient serves what? 2 servings. So you can look at the labels for things that you'll buy or use.
Yes.
2 servings. That means it serves 2 persons. 10 strawberries, and that all of the ingredients is for 2 persons. So if you wanted to serve 4 persons, you're just going to do what?
Double.
Double it. So 10 becomes 20, half becomes 1, 250 becomes 500, and 1 banana becomes 2.
2 bananas.
There you go. Second
Awesome.
question now. Let us just bring that right up. If 2 liters of orange juice,
Is used, how many bananas would be needed?
All right, so we have answers already. We have Wendy Allen. She's saying 4 bananas. That's on Zoom. We also have, Wendy, Cheryl is back at 4 bananas. So Cheryl has also said 4 bananas, and Wendy was first to say 4 bananas. We also have Androy, 4 bananas, and Alexia, 6 bananas.
So how did we get the 4 bananas?
I was just going to say, I wish I could just talk to the parents, you
Yes.
see, for them to tell
How did
me.
we get the 4 bananas?
All right, so let's look at it. So we said 2 liters of orange juice is used. The original recipe is half. How many half I can get out of that 2 liter?
Only?
4. 1 will give me 2 halves, and then 2 will give me 4 halves.
Oh.
So if I'm going to look at the half that use 1 banana, and I have 4 halves now, 1 banana for that half, 1 banana for that half, 1 banana. So I have 4.
Me get it.
4.
Yeah, man, tell it.
Yep.
Is Wendy?
Wendy, you did well.
Yeah,
Yes, Wendy was
Wendy
first.
talented.
Yes.
Wendy
Yes,
talented.
man. So it takes reasoning.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a lot of algebraic expression or anything.
But
you
you
know.
want to tell you what I love that you did a while ago? You demonstrated with the fingers.
Look at that.
So even for the little ones, we don't have to even know how to do the big additions. We can
No.
talk about a half.
Right.
Another half would give me a whole, and so on and so forth. And then you would have counted one half,
half,
one
one
banana,
banana.
another half. So even if you don't know anything about any cross, multiply,
you have to
and all
do
of those
none of
fancy
that.
things, there are different ways that we can approach a question. And I appreciated what you just did.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Wendy,
So,
congratulations.
Wendy, thank you so very much for your input. All right, and we will continue.
Let's talk math in the garden.
Here we are again.
Yes.
Now, Mr. John got some fencing post material. Each is 1 meter wide. The fencing posts were joined to make a perimeter fence for the backyard garden. Now, you can see right there that those fences are 1 meter wide. So if you put 5 together, is 5 that? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes,
5.
that is 5.
How big would that be?
It would be, what, 5 meters?
5
in length?
meters wide.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Good.
So when all the posts were joined, its total length was 40 meters. So remember that he bought several, and when they were
Yes.
joined together, it was 40 meters. So Mr. John needs to fence a portion of the yard for his wife's vegetable garden. I like Mr. John.
Yeah, man.
I like him.
Good-
He
good
wants a
youth.
rectangular shape. So we're going to show you the rectangular shape. If the plot has a length of 20 meters and a width of 2 meters, would the fencing post be enough to go all around it, or would he need more?
Interesting.
Yes.
Now,
Let's go back to the question,
don't
please.
move on yet. We want to have a conversation
Yeah,
with them
man.
a
Let's
little.
go back to the question,
You know,
please.
we're
Thank
big
you.
on conversation.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Big.
So, the plot, so we have some measurement here. We have 20 meters and we have 2 meters. And we have a little diagram there to pretty
Yeah,
much
man. So help us,
illustrate
right?
what we have. Now, would the fencing post be enough to go all the way around, or would we need more? How are we going to know that?
We're
What we
going
need
to
to
ask
know-
the parents.
Parents, what
I
math...
think they can help us.
Yeah. Even if you don't know the math concept, what would you do if you want to figure it out?
So if you were there, you're Mr. John's wife, and you're gonna be supportive, help him
man,
while
you're
he make a
outside
little
helping.
in garden and stuff. Yes. What would you be saying? Or if you're Mr. John, what would you be thinking? Let's wait on some comments from the parents. Would it be enough, or would he need more?
And how would you go about finding out? What would
Good
you need to
question.
know to find out to help Mr. John?
So Rikani would have shared that he needs more.
Oh.
And Troy is also saying he needs more.
What?
And over on YouTube, Kanashia is saying he needs more as well.
With all of that, you still need more?
Oh, but guess what? On Facebook, we're seeing Georgia saying we will need more.
Look at that. Anyone has told us what we need to know in order to know what if we need more?
Yes, and how much more at that too?
Well, I'm seeing LeBron saying L times W. LeBron, can you tell us what you
What is
mean
L
by
and what
L?
is W?
Yes.
W. All right, and then Anna now is back to saying each side is equal. So
Okay.
you would add all together.
Look at that.
Now we're at Cheryl. He needs more. I think length plus width times 2.
Look at
Okay,
that. Things
length
going
plus
on,
width,
man.
all right.
And hold on. Kathy over YouTube is saying, no, he would need more. At all the sides. L plus W plus another L plus another W.
Look at that.
So we're getting responses from the parents. That's
Awesome.
good.
Thank
Sounds
you very
great.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much. So yes, so let us talk about this. So we're talking about the boundaries of the garden.
Right.
So when we talk about the boundary of a shape, because it's a rectangular
Yeah.
shaped garden, we're talking about its perimeter.
Definitely.
Right.
Perimeter.
So in order to find the perimeter, we have to add up all the sides that
The length
that
of all the sides that
and
we have.
as one of our parents says, the sides are the opposite
Yes,
side.
the
That's what they
opposites,
said.
that's what it
are
has to
equal.
be.
So we have 20 meters plus 20
so
meters.
the ones that are parallel.
Right, the
Correct.
parallel sides are equal. And we have 2 meters plus 2 meters. How much we get, Simone? 20 and 20. Call yourself 20.
Shoot. 44.
44. We got 44. So we have 44 meters. So let's look at what we're looking at here. So there we go. And our perimeter is the concept that a child would have to understand and be able to apply here to access this particular conversation.
Yes.
All right, so the perimeter here would be 20 plus 20, that's 40 plus 4, 44.
Right.
And Mr. John only has
40,
40.
yes.
So he would definitely need 4 more
more.
posts to complete
And
his
the thing
wife's
about
garden.
it, that even if the child doesn't know the word perimeter,
It's fine.
It's fine. Because the conversation and exploring as you go along
Yes.
will get the child to see that they actually need more.
And you know what would have been fun? If they had little blocks or little things that could
Yes.
represent the 40 and go around to show that it's 44 of them. That would,
Footsticks.
yes.
Footsticks.
So several things, even matches sticks could have worked.
Even
you know?
matches sticks.
So can you just representing it?
Right.
So it is an excellent way to incorporate math in the home.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so very much, parents, for continuing with us along our journey as we explore math in the parents' world. And of course, enough to go all around is an important point. We would not have enough. Here we are, Simone. Now this one,
This is our conversation.
this is a conversation.
Family do-it-yourself painting. Now,
Yep.
this is something that I love to do. I love to paint. I'm not talking about the buying of the paints and all of that. I
No,
just
no.
love to paint.
Okay.
Yes, paint the walls. But this one is going to be
So
definitely
you
a
being so
conversation.
tall, how do you do that though?
Ladder
Okay.
and long stick, you know,
Okay.
for the brush and stuff like yeah, the roll. Yes.
Parents should not tall. Don't
Yeah,
make the chair
trust
fool
me,
you.
don't let the chair. I had to ask for a cushion earlier. It's not working out. So what information do you actually need if you're going to do any painting? One of the things that I know is
The amount of wall that
says,
we're painting.
what I'm going to paint. You want to tell you the biggest thing for me? The money.
That's true.
Jeez, after the money.
The
so
budget.
what the budget?
Can determine the type of paint, the color paint,
Yes, ma'am.
and which room I go paint first.
True words. True words. And the number of coats, of course, that is very critical, you know.
Yes.
If you have dark colors and you want to go light and
Exactly.
so on, that's very critical as well.
So once again, it's a home task, but it's so rich in math. You can make it so rich in math. You can talk about budgeting. Why are we not, Mommy, why can't I get my room pink and gold, and my room is right now brown and I don't know, blue? Why can't I get it some light colors? Why?
Right.
Budget don't support it, miss. Budget just don't
But
support
I'd like
it.
to know though, so you said that we know that 1 liter of paint should cover at least 6 squared meters.
Yes, sir.
What does 1 square meter look like?
Well, 1 square meter looks like a square that has all 4 sides, 1 meter.
Or like a meter stick?
There you go.
So that would be like Simone's height, would be 1 meter.
A little bit shorter.
A little shorter than
A little
Simone.
bit shorter.
Okay.
Right. So if we're talking about the 6 square meters now, we can look at different dimensions. So it could be a part of a wall that is 3 meters by 2 meters.
Okay.
Or
6 by 1
6
to 1.
meters by 1 meter. So it could be a longer piece of something.
More like a rectangle.
There you go.
Okay.
So so the first thing that we'd have to do is calculate the area of the wall to figure out how far 1 liter would stretch. Now, we want you to be aware of what 1 liter looks like. So if anyone has ever seen...
Hence the reason for the cow's
search
milk. Yes,
right.
yes.
We're not painting with milk, no.
Not at all. We're just trying to let you have an idea
It's
as
a
to what
reference
1
point.
liter is. Yes.
Right. So when you look at 1 liter, this is what we're looking at. And we want you to know, be able to see how far 1 liter would go. So 1 liter would not paint a whole wall. Unless it's a very small wall, you know, limited wall, a 6 by 1 meter wall.
It won't paint.
No, it won't. No room wall is that size. Okay, so let's continue. So most paint you'll buy a 3 liter tin of paint. So now we're talking about, we're going to increase that 6 by 3. So it can now paint 18 square meters. Let's look at that dimension, what that dimension can look like. What are some of the combinations to give us 18?
2 by 9.
2
And
by
so we
9.
can look at the different lengths of the walls that we would have. A standard room, so we might be able to do what? About 1 wall, or maybe a little
bit more.
Yeah.
And again, how much coat are we putting on
Yes,
this?
so we have to look at those things.
Now these data isn't specific, because if you're covering the same color paint, you may not apply a lot.
It's more
of
like
paint.
a touch-up.
Right, so there's the areas that can have a little soil.
Facelift.
Yeah, man, you know? And when you're working with a tight budget, you may just have to do a facelift. So here we are. The total amount of wall to be painted is 306 square meters. Now I did a little thing and I was trying to figure out what a room looks like. So I just work with my parents. So I'm giving an average height. I'm using a number that is easy to work with, sir. 12 feet high, because we tend to use feet.
I am almost 6 feet.
All right.
So that's twice my height.
Right. Oh, that's a very high wall.
Maybe about,
All right, maybe
maybe
about
8
10
feet.
feet.
8
Probably
to
about
10.
9, yeah.
Maybe about,
8,
okay.
9, something
We'll go with 9 then.
9.
9.
And that's
Now,
very
I
tall.
chose a number that is divisible by 3
Okay.
because 3 feet is about roughly a meter.
Yeah.
And I wanted the parents to be able to make the change very quick, easily. So if the room is about 9 feet high, you have to now measure the area on the walls. And most rooms, we're talking,
Like
you
10
paint,
feet,
you
10
paint the
by
roof,
12, yeah.
you paint the roof,
Right.
you paint the 4 walls, so we're talking about 5 walls you're painting, no, we know. So how much rooms are we talking about? We're talking about 306 square meters.
Okay,
That
no.
was the challenge for me.
But that's useful, you know, because sometimes you don't go and buy the paint yourself. You may engage the person who's painting.
Right.
And if you don't know what to do, you might give him either too much money or too little.
Or too little.
Right.
So it's a conversation.
Well, interestingly, after you buy the paint, you won't be able to pay him for the service charge.
That too, that too. So it's wise to be able to understand that you're not, when you're looking at, so I was talking to myself while I was driving as well, and I said, we're talking about a cube or a cuboid, because we're now looking at 3 dimensions.
Right.
We're looking at the height of the room, we're looking at the width, and the length of the wall. So, you know, I am there and I'm saying, all right, so I have to work out the area for each wall, and then I have to work out the area for the ceiling. And then I have to see. So when I had worked it out, you know, it was like about each wall. Let's say the wall is 9 feet by 9. I'm just roughing that.
Yeah.
That's 36. No, and I'm going to change it back to meters now. So it's 3 by 3.
Yeah.
So that would be 9 square meters
Right.
by what the other dimension? Because that's 9 up, 9 across.
Right,
That's
it's
a standard
a
rule.
flat surface.
Yeah,
you
that's
want,
just
right?
the wall. That's
Yeah.
just the wall right there, and times that by 4.
Yeah.
And then put in the ceiling. So we're talking about you need whole paint.
One,
You need whole paint to paint the house. So this now, the question is how much paint is needed, and with the information that we had discussed before, that 1 liter will paint 6 squared meters. 1 liter of paint will paint 6 square meters. We'd pretty much do what here? We'd figure out how many 6 square meters we can get out of that. And that would divide 306 by 6, giving us 51 liters of paint. Whole paint that. Whole
That's
paint.
a lot of paint.
Right. and we're roughing at this 306 is about 4 rooms, 4 or 5 rooms, right? How much paint is needed? If the paint comes in 3 liters, how many cans of paint will we need?
Is that a question for our parents? We have 2 more prizes to go.
We have 2 more prizes, and we just put it on the
They
screen.
can try at it.
Oops.
Okay.
I hope they didn't see.
Okay.
So how...
We have another question that they can answer.
All right, we're going to give them. We're going to get them get this one. So the number of cans will be 51 divided by 3, which is the 3 liters, giving us 17 cans of paint. Okay?
So imagine you coming out of the hardware with 17 cans of paint.
That you imagine? You imagine paying for the 17 cans of paint? That's what I'm imagining.
No, I have to imagine that. Remember, I'm
Right.
small.
So children who are online, you see why sometimes we have to keep the color in your room? Because it's expensive. So the total amount of wall to be painted is 306 square meters. 17 of the 3-liter cans of paint is needed. Now here is where another thing comes in. You can include your children. What decision is the best decision to make?
So instead of coming out with 17 3-liter cans, the hardware tends to
Have
offer
a
buckets.
huge bucket
So
of
let's say they have an 18-liter bucket.
But what the problem? We're painting the house in a white only.
Oh, well, that's why we're saying we cannot change the color. We're having the conversation with the children and letting know that we cannot change the color.
It's just white.
So it's just whites. Just for now, we have a budget. And so if each 3-liter costs 2,400, but the bucket costs 12,200, which is most feasible, which would you buy?
Which is the better buy?
Which would be the better buy for sure?
And this is consumer arithmetic right here. Okay?
This is math.
Yes.
A lot of math.
This is math.
Yes. So let's ask the parents, which would be most feasible.
So this question is out there for you. We're not helping you. So please continue to answer on Facebook, YouTube, or
In Zoom.
there you go. We're waiting. So you see how everything at home can be tied in?
Yes.
Parents, math is in your world so much that you didn't even know. We know you didn't know, But
We're learning.
we're learning. Which is the better buy?
And while we wait on their responses, I learned that the paints are not all the same. There are paints that are made for wall and paints that are made for board surface.
Okay,
Yes.
come on, just like I said.
Yes,
It's not wall, it's
so
where?
you have the low sheen.
Yes.
I don't know if the other one is called high sheen. I don't know, but you have low sheen and
Gloss.
glass paint,
Glass.
right? And then you have what is called water paint.
Yes.
And we have oil.
Right, so that one is easily washed out. So if somebody loves to paint, you can always do that in the house because you can always wash out the brush and use it again. But when you use the oil paint,
You have
I guess you have to put it in
thinner.
some
Yes, it's called
paraffin
thinner
or
something like
thinner.
that.
You know much more than I do.
I paint a lot. And you now have paints that are mildew resistant.
Wow.
You have paint that you can wipe off. Like it's almost like you're using what do you call it? Yeah, right. So it's when it paints, it's so solid. It's like plastic.
Yes, it just cleans.
So when it even applies differently. So when it goes on, you apply it thick, and it's just very nice. Parents, we're waiting on you.
All right, so the parents' responses, Laverne has shared the bucket will be better. Belle, the bucket will also be better. That's on Zoom. Not seen any response on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook as yet.
Okay.
So let's explore.
Yes. Why would a bucket be better? I want 17, what is it, 17 liters?
17 cans of the 3-liter.
Okay.
So what would we
And-
do?
That's what I want to know. So 17 cans of the 3 liters. So that means I'll have to multiply that 2,400 by 17.
Yes.
How much should I get, Mr. Donaldson? How much should that be?
That's about 40,000, approximately 41,000.
Right, just to break it
Right.
up, multiply by 10, and then you could go multiply by 5, and then you just multiply by 2, and you could add those up. So you don't have to be a great mathematician.
You
to
just
work that out.
decompose
Wait,
that
did you
number.
notice what you just did a while ago? Just repeat it for the parents.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you want to figure out how much 17 cans would cost, in 17 you have a 10, You also have a 5 and a 2. Those are easy
Right.
numbers to work with.
Right.
So you could multiply by 10 first. That would give you your
24,000.
24,000. And 5 will give you half of that, another 12.
There
That's
you go.
36.
Yes.
And then you just need 2 more to 2, 4, which is what?
4,800.
Easily, yeah.
Yes.
And you just add all of that up.
And that's a new way,
Yeah.
a different way of
Big word,
approaching it.
decompose.
Decompose it. the
Break that
numbers.
number up.
Yes. So instead of having that calculator, pulling out that phone, one of the things that you can actually do is to engage your child with that. Yes. It's a
Yes.
very good
It's an
skill.
excellent skill.
Excellent skill.
All
And
right.
that allows the student to do what we call mental math.
Right.
Yeah, so you know, you go into a store, you don't necessarily have to take out a calculator. You can do that breaking up of the numbers in what we call convenient numbers or compatible numbers, whatever.
Yes.
Some nice words.
Yes, compatible
Yeah.
numbers. I like it.
And as we talk about that, math, I want parents, I don't want you to tell your children that math is hard. I want you to use the word sophisticated.
It's
So
sophisticated.
math
I
is
like it.
math is simple and some math are sophisticated.
Sophisticated.
But it's not difficult and hard. Those words scare them.
So we're going to replace
Yes.
challenging
With
hard,
sophisticated. Yes.
difficult with
With
sophisticated.
sophisticated, right.
I like it.
Math is sophisticated. I like being sophisticated.
Simple
I tell you.
or sophisticated.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And so, could you repeat for us, please, the person who would have stated buckets first?
We need to look at the cost of the 3 of the 18
The three
liters.
18-liter buckets?
Right. So we
Oh.
have 3 18-liter buckets. So we definitely have to multiply that 12,200 by 3, or we
Could we try Mr. Donaldson's method?
Well,
Is
it's
it a
3.
possibility? No, but
Well, I could.
But we could, you know.
I could
But
use
what
2.
could we break down? No.
the 12
The 12,200. We could actually do that.
We could, or I could
Yes.
just add it because it's really not much. It's just 3 of them. So I could just add them.
Okay, yes. And
Which is true.
The numbers are small enough that wouldn't challenge you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We can just
That's
add them.
right.
Yes.
You
yes.
know, so I know that if I add 2, 3 times, it's 6. So I know it's 6 and 6 and 3.
Right.
So it's 36, 600. There you
Yes,
go.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine by me as well.
Right.
So we can have these conversations with the children and we can work with them. So even if we don't do it talking about paint, we can do it in the supermarket talking about the juice that they would buy.
Right, and if you ever wondered, how is it that the vendors in the market
Check so
do
quickly.
their calculations so comfortably without
Yes.
any calculators? It doesn't matter how many customers they have.
They're just-
they're just getting the right numbers for their
Goods.
goods and giving it the right change as
They
well.
have that mental math
They're
power.
breaking up the numbers.
Yes,
yeah.
mental math power.
Yeah.
So all those persons selling, they really master this mental math, you know.
Yes, yeah.
They have. No matter, no feel that you can go around them. All right, tips
all
and
right.
routines.
So going back to the answer you would have asked earlier, so Laverne would have stated bucket would be better, followed by Bell, who would have shared bucket would be better. But let's show them which one is actually better, because we know that we had figured it out too. So let's show them. Let's show them on the screen.
So let's go back to the previous slide.
So on the previous slide, we would see that the bucket, purchasing the bucket, the 3 buckets would be cheaper.
Right,
It would
we
be
need
better.
we need to go back to the value of to the amount of paint that we required. So we know that the 17 what is that? 17 buckets of 3 liter 17 3 liter
cans, yeah.
would give us the 51
Right.
liters that we require. The 3 buckets of 18
Of
liters.
80 liters.
How much paint is that?
So let's do
I'm
that
just going
again.
to add
So
that.
that's 30, 54.
Right.
Somewhere around there.
So, a matter of fact, it's cheaper and you get more.
Which is
It's cheaper to buy the 3 18-liter buckets and you get more. The only drawback to this is when you're buying single 3-liter paint, you can change the color. The variation is much.
Yeah, you'll have
But
more.
when you buy 3 buckets of 18-liter, we have to
Getting
go.
Yeah, but
decide
remember
on
we had
3
the
colours.
conversation with the children.
We're working on a
one
budget.
color, one
Yeah,
budget.
We're working on a
Yes.
budget. So again, When you're budgeting, it's always good to include them in why you have made certain decision in the home, because it's what you're working with now. All right, awesome.
We have 3 minutes.
Okay, so let's continue. Tips and routines.
Remember, always ask for help.
And that goes for you parents, not only the children, but you can ask for help. If you don't understand what's happening in school, talk to the teacher, talk to a friend that you know that likes math or does well in math, and you want to become that person, so you ask for help.
Talk about math in a positive way. A positive attitude about math is critical.
Don't just give the answers. Look for examples in your child's notebook or online. Show them the reasoning, the conceptual understanding. I'm using such big words, but I want you to show them why the answer is what it is.
Yes, and provide them with the required tools.
Yes. If your child is doing construction, parents, a geometry set is required. A calculator is required for school. Every parent out there listening, if your child is at secondary, they all need to practice with a calculator before their exam come upon them. Buy them one. Make the sacrifice and purchase a calculator and give it to your child. It is required.
Or go to the store with the child, look at the price, and have them work out how much they could save from their lunch money per day for a period of time in order to purchase that calculator.
I like that.
Yes.
So compromise.
Yes.
Converse.
Have that conversation.
There you go. Thank you so very much for being with us. We are most grateful that you stayed on with us. So,
Right, and as we close, we just want to recognize Cheryl Smith. I didn't get Hannah's last name. Hannah Wendy. And I think there's... give us the winners, Camille, please.
So our winners for this afternoon, Cheryl Smith, Crystal Edwards, Wendy Allen, and Laverne Johnson. But we have a bonus question. Let's see who would have been tuning in from the go-get. What is the math theme for this year? Let's see those magic fingers. So we're looking in the chat to see who will respond first. What's the math theme?
Can I give them a hint? 4 words.
No, I don't think we should give them 4 words. But let's give them a hint. No, Jacinth. So, Mr. Donaldson, you can go ahead and give them a hint.
4 words.
that's it.
That's a hint.
It's your birthright.
Your birthright, that's another hint.
Great.
Somebody got it?
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm rejoicing. So, Wendy would have shared Born to Do Math.
Awesome.
Laverne. Yes.
Yes.
Let's
Yay!
wave for Wendy.
Yay!
Laverne would have also said Born to Do Math. But it's the first answer that we are taking. So it goes to Wendy. Back over to you, Mr. Donaldson.
Thank you so much, Camille. You've been very supportive online with our parents. As we talk about online, in the 20th century, which is like 19-something, you know, people would complain that they fall off a truck, they fall off the roof of the house, they fall off many things. Here's my question. What are most people falling from these days in the 21st century?
I can answer?
Yes.
The internet.
The internet. Everybody falling off the internet.
Yes.
Actually, we drop off the internet.
Drop off.
And yesterday we did.
Drop
we
offline.
did drop off yesterday.
Oh, yes.
But today we have been on from the get-go. So I want to thank GIS for a wonderful job so that we could have shared with our parents Math in Their World. Thank to Simone and Tamika for a well-done presentation. And I also want to thank Suzette Simpson, Charlene Brown Nelson, and Stephanie Deere for assisting with the presentation for this afternoon. Thank you all parents for joining us today. It was nice having you. Sorry we couldn't see you face to face as we would want to, but your interaction with us through the chat was very welcome. So thank you again for being with us. And I trust that you learned a lot. One thing you must remember, you were born to do math, and you must tell your children that they are born to do math. Second thing I want you to remember is that math is simple and it's not complex, it's sophisticated. I say that because countries who have progressed from third world to first world have embraced sophisticated mathematics, and that is what have made them industrialized. We too want to be an industrialized country so we can earn a lot more for ourselves and our children to school. So help them to love math so they can do the sophisticated math when they grow, okay? I just want to inform everybody here online that our Math Week activities continues. Tomorrow we have our virtual Math Expo. Yearly we would have it live at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, where we would gather all the children from different schools and would have a wonderful time with booth, etc. But this year, just like last year, we were not able to have you live. So we are having a virtual expo. On Thursday it starts at 10 o'clock, ends at 12 at UWI Mona. Links will be shared with you through your principals, your schools, your education officers, so you'll get your information in the region. And then on Friday, we end Math Week 2022 with a STEM forum, and it will be streamed live from the University of the West Indies as well, Mona. So we trust that you will be able to join and share with us, learn all you can to make math count. It does. Remember, each day you count, each day you measure, each day you're analyzing data so you can make better decisions for yourself, for your children, for your country. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to have you in different forums like these, and that you'll have a good evening. God bless you.